The first thing Emma Carter heard was the slow beeping of a machine. Beep, beep, beep. Her eyelids felt heavy. When she finally opened them, the ceiling above her was bright white and unfamiliar. A hospital. Emma frowned slightly. Her head hurt as if someone had hit it with a hammer. A nurse noticed her movement and quickly walked over. "Oh, you're awake," the nurse said with relief. "Mrs. Reed, can you hear me?" Emma blinked slowly. "Mrs. Reed. My name is Emma Carter," she said weakly. The nurse paused for a moment but smiled gently. "Yes, of course. Just rest. I'll call your husband." Emma frowned again. Husband? Before she could ask anything else, the nurse left the room. Emma tried to sit up, but dizziness hit her immediately. Her body felt strangely unfamiliar, like she had been asleep for a very long time. Then the door opened. A tall man walked into the room. He wore a black coat and looked calm, but his sharp eyes were filled with worry. The moment Emma saw him, her heart skipped in shock. "Lucas Reed," she blurted out. The man stopped walking. For a moment, he looked relieved. "Emma," he said softly. Emma stared at him like she was looking at a ghost. Lucas Reed. Her biggest rival in college. The arrogant genius who always competed with her for first place. The man she once swore she would never speak to again. "Why are you here?" Emma asked, confused. Lucas frowned slightly. "I came because you were in an accident." Emma shook her head. "That's not what I mean. Why would you come for me?" Lucas looked at her quietly, as if trying to understand something. Then he said something that made Emma's mind go blank. "Because I'm your husband." Silence filled the hospital room. Emma blinked. Then blinked again. "What?" Lucas didn't laugh. He didn't look like he was joking. He simply walked closer to the bed. "You don't remember?" he asked. Emma stared at him like he had lost his mind. "Remember what?" "The last thing I remember is graduation day, and you arguing with me about that stupid research project." Lucas's expression slowly changed. "Graduation," he repeated quietly. Emma nodded impatiently. "Yes. 8 years ago." The room suddenly became very quiet. Lucas looked at the doctor who had just entered the room behind him. The doctor sighed. "It seems the memory loss is real," the doctor said gently. Emma felt her stomach drop. "What memory loss?" she asked. The doctor walked closer to her bed. "You were in a car accident last night. When you woke up, your memories stopped 8 years ago." Emma laughed nervously. "That's impossible." The doctor didn't laugh. "You are 32 years old now," the doctor said calmly. Emma froze. "What?" Her hands slowly gripped the blanket. "No, that's not possible." The doctor continued explaining. "You have lived 8 years that you currently cannot remember." Emma's heart began to beat faster. Her eyes slowly turned toward Lucas. Lucas looked different than she remembered. More mature. More serious. But still unmistakably Lucas Reed. The man she hated. "You're lying," Emma whispered. Lucas shook his head quietly. "I wish I was." Emma suddenly noticed something shining on her hand. A ring. A wedding ring. Her eyes widened. "No, no, no, no." She looked at Lucas again. "You're telling me I married you?" Lucas looked at her carefully. "Yes." Emma felt like the world had turned upside down. "That makes no sense," she said loudly. "We hated each other." Lucas opened his mouth as if to answer. But suddenly the door burst open. A small voice shouted excitedly, "Mom!" Emma turned her head in shock. A little girl ran into the room. She looked about 6 years old with soft brown hair and bright eyes. Before Emma could react, the little girl climbed onto the bed and hugged her tightly. "Mom, you scared me," the girl said. Emma froze. Her arms hung awkwardly at her sides. The girl pulled back and looked at her with teary eyes. "I missed you." Emma looked at the child, then slowly looked at Lucas. Her voice trembled. "Who is she?" Lucas answered softly. "Our daughter." Emma's brain stopped working. "Your name is Lily," Lucas told the little girl gently. The girl smiled at Emma. "Mom, the doctor said you're okay now." Emma stared at the child. "My daughter." Her heart suddenly felt strange. She didn't remember this little girl. But the girl looked at her with complete love and trust. Emma forced a small smile. Hi. Lucas watched them silently. After Lily left with the nurse to get snacks, the room became quiet again. Emma turned toward Lucas slowly. Explain everything, she demanded. Lucas rubbed his forehead. I don't even know where to begin. Emma crossed her arms. Start with the most impossible part. Lucas raised an eyebrow. Which part? Emma glared at him. Why on earth would I marry you? Lucas looked at her for a long moment. Then he said quietly, you were the one who proposed. Emma's jaw dropped. That's ridiculous. Lucas said nothing. Emma looked around the room, trying to calm herself. Her eyes suddenly noticed something sitting on the small table beside the bed. A handbag. Is that mine? She asked. Lucas nodded. Emma grabbed the bag and searched inside. Her phone. Her wallet. Then something else. A small black notebook. Emma frowned. She opened it. On the first page were words written in her own handwriting. Her heart nearly stopped when she read the message. If you ever forget again, do not trust Daniel. Emma slowly looked up. Lucas, she said quietly. Yes. Emma's voice became serious. Who is Daniel? Emma barely slept that night. The hospital room was quiet, but her mind was full of questions. 8 years. 8 entire years of her life were gone. She stared at the small black notebook again. The message written in her own handwriting still made her uneasy. If you ever forget again, do not trust Daniel. The words felt urgent. Like a warning from a stranger who happened to be herself. Emma sighed and closed the notebook. Why would I write something like this? She murmured. The door opened softly. Lucas walked in, carrying a cup of coffee. You should rest, he said calmly. The doctor said stress may slow your recovery. Emma raised an eyebrow. You seem very calm for someone whose wife forgot their entire marriage. Lucas handed her the coffee. I've had worse days. Emma stared at him suspiciously. That sounds like something someone hiding secrets would say. Lucas smirked slightly. Or someone who knows you very well. Emma looked away quickly. It was strange. Lucas was acting normal. Too normal. As if the situation didn't shock him at all. Lucas, Emma said suddenly. Yes. Do we actually love each other? Lucas paused. For a moment, something complicated flashed in his eyes. But he answered simply. Yes. Emma searched his face carefully. Then why do I feel like I hated you? Lucas leaned back in the chair beside her bed. Because you did. Emma blinked. What? We hated each other for years, Lucas admitted. Emma shook her head. That makes the marriage even more ridiculous. Lucas shrugged calmly. Life changes people. Emma crossed her arms. I must have changed a lot to marry my biggest rival. Lucas looked at her thoughtfully. You did. Before Emma could ask more questions, the door opened again. This time, a man walked in wearing a bright smile and expensive clothes. Emma, you're finally awake. The man walked straight to the bed. Emma stared at him, confused. He looked friendly, confident, and strangely familiar. Do I know you? Emma asked. The man laughed. Wow, the doctor was right. You really forgot everything. Lucas stood up beside her. Emma, this is Daniel Shaw. Emma froze. Daniel. The name from the notebook. Her heart began beating faster. Daniel smiled warmly. I'm Lucas's best friend and business partner. Emma forced a polite smile. Nice to meet you. But inside, alarm bells were ringing. Do not trust Daniel. She glanced at Lucas quickly. Lucas seemed completely relaxed. That confused her even more. Daniel pulled a chair closer to the bed. You gave us quite a scare, he said. When Lucas called me about the accident, I came immediately. Emma watched him carefully. He seemed sincere. Too sincere. How long have we known each other? Emma asked. Daniel grinned. Almost 8 years. Emma felt another wave of discomfort. So you met me right after I married Lucas? Daniel laughed again. No, actually. Actually, I introduced you too. Emma blinked. You introduced us? Lucas nodded. Daniel worked with me at the company. You met him during a business project. Emma looked between the two men. This story only got stranger. So the man who introduced us is also the one my past self warned me about? Daniel tilted his head. What warning? Emma quickly closed the notebook on the bed. Oh, nothing. Daniel didn't press further. Instead, he looked at Lucas. The board meeting is tomorrow. Should we postpone it? Lucas shook his head. No. I'll still attend. Emma frowned. What meeting? Lucas looked at her. Reed Tech's quarterly board meeting. Emma blinked again. Reed Tech. Daniel laughed. You really forgot everything. Emma crossed her arms. Stop saying that and explain. Lucas spoke calmly. Reed Tech is my company. Emma nodded slowly. That part makes sense. Daniel added with a smile. And you're the strategy director. Emma's jaw dropped. I work there. Lucas nodded. You joined the company 5 years ago. Emma stared at him. Wait, so I work for my husband? Daniel chuckled. You don't like when people say it like that. Emma groaned. Great. My future self sounds very complicated. Daniel stood up. Well, you can worry about work later. For now, just recover. He waved casually. See you soon, Emma. As Daniel left the room, Emma's eyes followed him carefully. The door closed. The room became quiet again. Emma slowly turned toward Lucas. Be honest with me. Lucas looked at her. What? Do you trust Daniel? Lucas answered immediately. Yes. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Her fingers touched the notebook again. Do not trust Daniel. Two completely different answers. Lucas noticed her serious expression. What are you thinking? He asked. Emma hesitated. Then she changed the topic. Can I go home soon? Lucas nodded. The doctor said you can leave tomorrow. Emma looked nervous. I'm not sure I'm ready. Lucas frowned. For what? Emma sighed. For meeting the life I don't remember. Lucas looked at her quietly. Then he said something unexpected. You built a good life. Emma looked at him skeptically. With you? Lucas smiled slightly. Yes. Emma shook her head slowly. I'll believe that when I see it. The next afternoon, Lucas drove Emma home. When the car stopped, Emma stared at the house in front of her. It was large, modern, and beautiful. This is where we live? She asked. Lucas nodded. Emma stepped out of the car slowly. Her heart felt nervous. Inside the house, small shoes were neatly placed near the door. Colorful drawings were stuck on the walls. And in the living room, Lily was waiting. Mom. The little girl ran to her happily. Emma froze again. But this time, she slowly hugged her back. Lily looked up at her. Mom, did you forget how to make pancakes? Emma blinked. Probably. Lily giggled. You always burn them. Emma smiled awkwardly. Lucas watched the moment quietly from the doorway. Later that night, Emma explored the bedroom. Everything felt unfamiliar. But something caught her attention. A locked drawer in the desk. She opened it with the key she found in her wallet. Inside were several documents, photos, and a flash drive. Emma plugged it into her laptop. One video file appeared. The title made her heart stop. If I lose my memory again, watch this. Emma slowly clicked play. On the screen, her past self appeared. Looking serious. And afraid. Hello, Emma, the woman on the screen said. If you're watching this, it means something went wrong. Emma leaned closer to the screen. Her past self continued. You don't have much time. Emma whispered. What did I get myself into? The video ended with one final sentence. Start by asking Lucas about the night we got married. Emma stared at the laptop screen long after the video ended. The room was silent except for the faint sound of Lily laughing somewhere downstairs. Her past self's face was still frozen on the screen. Serious. Tired. Almost scared. Emma slowly leaned back in the chair. So apparently, she whispered to herself, my future self thinks my life is some kind of secret mission. She replayed the last line in her head. Start by asking Lucas about the night we got married. Emma rubbed her temples. Great. My husband is the first suspect. A knock came on the bedroom door. Lucas stepped inside. You've been quiet for a while, he said. Are you feeling okay? Emma quickly closed the laptop. I'm fine. Lucas studied her face carefully. You're a terrible liar. Emma crossed her arms. Then answer my question honestly. Lucas raised an eyebrow. What question? Emma looked directly into his eyes. What happened the night we got married? Lucas froze. For the first time since she woke up, he looked genuinely surprised. Why are you asking that? He said slowly. Emma shrugged casually. Curiosity. Lucas walked toward the window, thinking. It was a small wedding, he said. Very sudden. Emma frowned. Sudden how? Lucas looked back at her. We decided 2 weeks before the ceremony. Emma nearly choked. 2 weeks. Lucas nodded calmly. Yes. Emma threw her hands in the air. That makes absolutely no sense. 8 years ago we could barely stand each other. Lucas smirked slightly. You're remembering correctly. Emma glared at him. So explain how we went from enemies to married in 2 weeks. Lucas was silent for a moment. Then he sighed. It started with work. Emma waited. 5 years ago, Lucas continued, our company had a serious problem. A competitor tried to steal our new technology. Emma's attention sharpened. So I joined the company to help. Lucas nodded. You were the best strategy analyst I knew. Emma tilted her head. You trusted me even though we hated each other? Lucas gave a small smile. I trusted your brain. Not your personality. Emma rolled her eyes. That sounds more accurate. Lucas continued. We worked together for months. And then? Emma asked. Lucas hesitated slightly. And then we stopped hating each other. Emma blinked. That's it. Lucas shrugged. More or less. Emma didn't look convinced. You're leaving out something important. Lucas didn't respond. Emma stood up. People don't just stop hating their biggest rival and suddenly get married. Lucas looked at her calmly. You proposed. Emma pointed at herself. Me? Yes. Emma stared at him like he had just said the sky was purple. I must have been drunk. Lucas laughed softly. You don't drink. Emma groaned and sat back down. This is unbelievable. Lucas was about to say something when Lily suddenly burst into the room. Dad. Mom. She was holding a drawing. Look what I made. Emma smiled automatically. Lily climbed onto the bed beside her. I drew our family. Emma looked at the colorful drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands. A small one in the middle. The words above them read, Mom plus Dad plus Lily. Emma felt a strange warmth in her chest. You're very talented, she said gently. Lily beamed proudly. Lucas watched the moment quietly, but Emma suddenly noticed something strange. In the corner of the drawing, there was another stick figure, crossed out with red crayon. Emma pointed at it. Who is that? Lily's smile faded. That's Grandma. Emma blinked. Grandma? Dad's mom, Lily said. Emma looked up at Lucas. Your mother? Lucas sighed. Yes. Emma raised an eyebrow. Let me guess, she doesn't like me. Lucas gave a dry smile. That would be an understatement. Almost on cue, the doorbell rang downstairs. Lucas checked his phone. His expression changed slightly. Speak of the devil, he muttered. Emma frowned. That's your mom? Lucas nodded. She probably heard about the accident. Emma stood up nervously. Well, this should be interesting. A few minutes later, Emma walked into the living room. An elegant older woman stood there, perfectly dressed and very serious. Grace Reed. Lucas's mother. Grace looked at Emma with cold eyes. So you're finally awake. Emma forced a polite smile. Hello. Grace crossed her arms. I heard you lost your memory. Emma nodded. Yes. The last 8 years. Grace didn't look sympathetic. In fact, she almost looked annoyed. Well, Grace said sharply, maybe that's for the best. Emma blinked. Excuse me? Grace walked closer. You caused enough trouble the first time. The room became tense. Lucas spoke firmly. Mother. But Grace ignored him. She looked directly at Emma. You always were ambitious. Manipulative. Emma felt her temper rising. I don't remember doing anything wrong. Grace gave a cold laugh. That's convenient. Emma crossed her arms. If I was so terrible, why did your son marry me? Grace's eyes flashed. That's exactly the question. Emma looked confused. What do you mean? Grace's voice became quiet and sharp. Your marriage was never normal. Lucas stepped forward. That's enough. Grace looked at him. You think I don't see what's happening? Lucas's voice hardened. Mother. Grace turned back to Emma one last time. Since you forgot everything, let me give you some advice. Emma waited. Grace said slowly. Be careful digging into the past. Emma felt a chill. Why? Grace looked directly into her eyes. Because the last time you did, you almost destroyed this family. The room fell silent. Grace picked up her purse. I've said what I came to say. She walked toward the door. But before leaving, she added one final sentence. And if you want the truth about your marriage. She glanced briefly at Lucas. Ask your sister. The door closed behind her. Emma slowly turned toward Lucas. My sister knows something. Lucas looked uneasy. Yes. Emma grabbed her phone. Then I guess it's time I call Mia. Later that evening, Emma sat in a quiet cafe. A woman rushed inside and hugged her tightly. Emma, I was so worried. Emma smiled. Mia. Her younger sister looked relieved. You really don't remember anything? Emma shook her head. Only up to graduation. Mia sat down across from her. You married Lucas Reed, Mia said. That must be the biggest shock. Emma sighed. You have no idea. Then Emma leaned forward. I need you to tell me the truth. Mia hesitated. About what? Emma's voice became serious. My marriage. Mia looked nervous. Emma. Emma continued. Grace said I was investigating something before the accident. Mia's face turned pale. Emma noticed immediately. You know something. Mia looked around the cafe carefully. Then she whispered. Yes. Emma's heart began beating faster. What was I investigating? Mia took a deep breath. You were planning to leave Lucas. Emma froze. What? Mia nodded slowly. You told me 2 weeks ago. Emma stared at her. Why? Mia's voice dropped even lower. Because you thought someone close to Lucas was betraying him. Emma's mind flashed back to the notebook message. Do not trust Daniel. Emma whispered. Daniel. Emma barely heard the noise of the cafe around her. All she could focus on was Mia's last word. Daniel. Emma leaned forward slowly. You're telling me I believed Daniel was betraying Lucas? Mia looked nervous. I'm not saying he definitely was, she said quickly. But you were investigating something at the company. Emma tried to piece everything together. The notebook. The video message. The warning about Daniel. Her head began to hurt. Why would I plan to leave Lucas because of that? Emma asked. Mia hesitated. That part, you never explained clearly. Emma frowned. You're hiding something. Mia sighed. I'm not hiding it. I just don't fully understand it either. Emma crossed her arms. Tell me everything you remember. Mia leaned closer and lowered her voice. 2 weeks before your accident, you came to my apartment late at night. Emma listened carefully. You looked exhausted. Like you hadn't slept for days. Emma imagined it. A version of herself running around, chasing some dangerous truth. You told me something big was about to happen, Mia continued. What kind of big? Emma asked. You said if your plan worked, Lucas would finally be safe. Emma blinked. Safe, from Daniel? Mia nodded slowly. That's what I assumed. Emma felt even more confused. If Daniel is Lucas's best friend and business partner, Exposing him would destroy the company. Mia gave a small nod. That's why you were afraid. Emma sighed and leaned back in her chair. My life sounds like a business thriller. Mia tried to smile. You always liked solving complicated problems. Emma shook her head. But this one involves my husband. Mia studied her carefully. How do you feel about Lucas now? Emma thought about it. Lucas was calm, protective, patient with her memory loss, but also secretive. I don't know, Emma admitted. I remember hating him. Mia laughed softly. That part is real. Emma raised an eyebrow. You remember our college fights? Mia grinned. Everyone remembers those. Emma sighed. I can't imagine how we went from that to marriage. Mia leaned forward again. You want to know something strange? Emma nodded. You used to say Lucas Reed was the one man you would never trust. Emma groaned. That sentence aged badly. Mia looked thoughtful. But 5 years ago, something changed. Emma waited. You suddenly defended him whenever people criticized him. Emma blinked. I did. Mia nodded. You even argued with me about it. Emma rubbed her forehead again. Great. I turned into his bodyguard. Mia's expression suddenly became serious. Emma, whatever you discovered at the company must have been serious. Emma nodded slowly. I think so too. She stood up. I should go home. Mia grabbed her arm gently. Be careful. Emma looked at her. If Daniel really is dangerous, you might be putting yourself at risk again. Emma gave a small smile. Apparently my past self expected that. Later that night, the Reed house was quiet. Lily was already asleep. Lucas was sitting in the living room reading documents on his tablet when Emma walked in. You're working late, she said. Lucas looked up. It's normal. Emma sat down across from him. We need to talk. Lucas closed the tablet. That sounds serious. Emma didn't hesitate. Were we happy? Lucas looked surprised. Where did that question come from? Emma crossed her arms. I'm trying to understand my own life. Lucas leaned back in his chair. Yes, he said simply. Emma studied his face. You didn't hesitate. Because it's true, Lucas said. Emma tapped her fingers on the table. Then why was I planning to leave you? Lucas froze. A shadow crossed his expression. Who told you that? My sister. Lucas looked frustrated. Mia shouldn't interfere. Emma leaned forward. Is it true? Lucas didn't answer immediately. Finally he said quietly, yes. Emma felt a strange pain in her chest. Why? Lucas looked away. I don't know. Emma stared at him. You're lying. Lucas looked back at her. I'm not lying. Then explain it. Lucas sighed. You were investigating something at the company. Emma nodded. That much I know. You became obsessed, Lucas continued. Working late every night. Meeting people secretly. Emma felt uneasy. Did you try to stop me? Lucas shook his head. I trusted you. Emma frowned. Even when I said I might leave you? Lucas's voice became quieter. You never said it directly. Emma waited. You just asked strange questions. What kind of questions? Lucas looked directly at her. Questions about trust. Emma's heart beat faster. Like. Lucas said slowly. What would you do if your best friend betrayed you? Emma swallowed. Daniel. Lucas nodded slightly. Emma stood up and began pacing. This is ridiculous. Everyone is acting like Daniel is completely trustworthy. Lucas looked confused. He is. Emma stopped walking. Are you absolutely sure? Lucas answered without hesitation. Yes. Emma stared at him. Her past self clearly disagreed. But Lucas trusted Daniel completely. That meant one of two things. Either her past self made a terrible mistake, or Lucas was being fooled. Emma suddenly remembered the flash drive. I need to show you something, she said. Lucas raised an eyebrow. What? Emma went upstairs quickly. A moment later she returned with the laptop. She placed it on the table. This video was in my drawer. Lucas frowned. What video? Emma pressed play. Her past self appeared on the screen again. Lucas leaned closer. On the video, the other Emma spoke calmly. If you're watching this, it means I probably lost my memory again. Lucas's eyes widened slightly. The video continued. I can't explain everything yet. Emma glanced at Lucas. His expression was serious now. Then the past Emma said something new. Before you trust anyone, check the hidden files in the company server. Emma leaned closer to the screen. I stored evidence there. Lucas looked shocked. Evidence of what? The video ended. Silence filled the room. Emma slowly turned to Lucas. Looks like my past self was preparing for something. Lucas was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something unexpected. There's only one problem. Emma frowned. What? Lucas's voice became serious. The company server you mentioned. He paused. Was hacked 3 days before your accident. The living room felt colder after Lucas revealed the truth. The server was hacked 3 days before my accident. Emma repeated slowly. Lucas nodded. Yes. Emma stared at the paused video on the laptop. Her past self had clearly left evidence there. But if the server had been hacked, then someone had already tried to erase it. Emma's mind immediately went to one person. Daniel. She looked at Lucas carefully. Who knew about the files on that server? Lucas thought for a moment. Only a few senior staff. Emma asked the next question carefully. Was Daniel one of them? Lucas frowned slightly. Of course. He's my business partner. Emma felt the tension building again. Lucas noticed her expression. You think Daniel did it? Emma didn't answer directly. I think someone was trying to destroy evidence. Lucas crossed his arms. You're jumping to conclusions. Emma sighed. I know. But everything keeps pointing in the same direction. Lucas stood up and walked to the window. You're basing this on a message from your past self. Emma followed him with her eyes. My past self clearly believed something was wrong. Lucas looked back at her. Or maybe you misunderstood something back then. Emma shook her head. Then why would I prepare videos and warnings? Lucas didn't answer. The silence between them grew heavier. Finally Emma spoke again. There's something else. Lucas looked at her. What? Emma hesitated. Mia said I planned to leave you. Lucas's expression hardened slightly. I told you already. But she also said something else, Emma continued. Lucas waited. She said I believed exposing the truth would protect you. Lucas looked confused. Protect me from what? Emma met his eyes. That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. Before Lucas could respond, a small voice came from the hallway. Mom! Lily stood there, holding her stuffed rabbit. Emma's expression softened immediately. Hey, sweetheart. Lily walked over slowly. I had a bad dream. Emma bent down and hugged her gently. It's okay. Lily rested her head against Emma's shoulder. Can you stay with me tonight? Emma smiled. Of course. Lucas watched them quietly. For a moment, the tension disappeared. Later that night, Emma sat beside Lily's bed while the little girl fell asleep. The room was decorated with colorful toys and drawings. Emma looked at one of the photos on the shelf. It showed Lucas holding Lily when she was a baby. Emma stood beside them, smiling warmly. Emma touched the photo. Did I really look that happy? She whispered. A quiet voice answered from the doorway. You were. Lucas leaned against the doorframe. Emma turned toward him. You were watching us? Lucas shrugged. Just making sure Lily fell asleep. Emma stood up slowly. I wish I remembered these moments. Lucas looked at the photo. You loved her more than anything. Emma nodded softly. I believe that. She looked back at Lucas. But I still don't understand us. Lucas walked into the room. Neither do I sometimes. Emma raised an eyebrow. That's not reassuring. Lucas gave a small smile. We were complicated. Emma leaned against the desk. Tell me something honestly. Lucas nodded. Did we fight a lot? Lucas thought for a moment. Not about normal things. Emma frowned. What does that mean? Lucas answered quietly. We argued about the company. Emma sighed. That again. Lucas continued. You believed someone inside the company was sabotaging us. Emma nodded slowly. That part sounds familiar. Lucas's voice lowered. But you refused to tell me who you suspected. Emma's eyes widened slightly. I kept it secret from you. Lucas nodded. You said you needed proof first. Emma felt another piece of the puzzle falling into place. So I was trying to protect you, without involving you. Lucas crossed his arms. Which was very frustrating. Emma smirked. I can imagine. Lucas's expression softened slightly. But I trusted you. Emma looked at him carefully. You trusted me enough to marry me. Lucas nodded. Yes. Emma tilted her head. But why did I trust you? Lucas seemed surprised by the question. What do you mean? Emma pointed at him. 8 years ago, I hated you. Lucas chuckled quietly. That part never fully disappeared. Emma rolled her eyes. Be serious. Lucas became thoughtful. You once told me something. Emma waited. You said the reason you trusted me was because I never lied. Emma blinked. You. Lucas shrugged. I'm honest to a fault. Emma was about to reply when Lucas's phone suddenly rang. Lucas glanced at the screen. His expression changed immediately. What is it? Emma asked. Lucas answered the call. Yes. His voice became serious. Emma watched his face carefully. Lucas's expression slowly turned darker. When did this happen? He asked. Emma felt nervous. Lucas ended the call and grabbed his coat. Something's wrong. Emma stood up quickly. What happened? Lucas looked directly at her. It's Lily. Emma's heart dropped. What about Lily? Lucas's voice became urgent. She never arrived at school this morning. Emma froze. That's impossible. I saw her leave with the driver. Lucas shook his head. The school says she never showed up. Emma felt her stomach twist. Where is she? Lucas was already heading toward the door. I'm going to the school. Emma grabbed her jacket. I'm coming with you. Lucas didn't argue. As they rushed to the car, Emma's mind raced. Lily missing. The hacked server. Her past investigation. It couldn't be a coincidence. Emma suddenly whispered the thought she feared most. Daniel. Lucas looked at her sharply. You still think he's involved? Emma stared ahead. I think someone knows I started remembering things. Lucas started the car. The engine roared to life. Emma's hands trembled slightly. Her past self had been preparing for something dangerous. Now that danger had reached her daughter. And for the first time since waking up, Emma felt certain about one thing. Whoever was behind this, she was going to finish what her past self started. No matter the cost. The car sped through the dark streets as Lucas drove toward Lily's school. Emma sat in the passenger seat, gripping her phone tightly. Her mind was racing. Call the driver again, she said. Lucas nodded and dialed quickly. The phone rang several times before someone answered. Mr. Reed. I'm so sorry, the driver said nervously. Lucas's voice turned cold. Explain what happened. I dropped Lily at the front gate like always, the driver replied. She walked inside with the other children. Emma leaned closer to the phone. Did you see her enter the building? The driver hesitated. I saw her walking toward the entrance. Lucas ended the call. That's not enough, Emma said immediately. Lucas agreed. They arrived at the school within minutes. The security guard quickly opened the gate when he saw Lucas's car. Inside the empty school building, the principal was waiting. Mr. Reed, we're very sorry, the principal said. We checked the classrooms. Lily never arrived. Emma felt her chest tighten. Show us the security footage, she said. Moments later they were inside the security office. The guard rewound the cameras from the morning. Emma watched the screen carefully. The car appeared at the gate. Lily stepped out with her backpack. She waved goodbye to the driver. Then she began walking toward the entrance. Emma leaned closer. Pause. Lucas froze the video. A black car was parked across the street. Emma narrowed her eyes. Play it. On the screen, a man stepped out of the car. He walked calmly toward Lily. The camera angle didn't show his face clearly, but Lily seemed to recognize him. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She simply followed him. Emma felt cold. Lily knows him. Lucas clenched his jaw. The man opened the car door. Before getting in, he briefly turned toward the camera. Just enough for his face to appear. Emma's heart dropped. Daniel Shaw. Lucas stared at the screen in disbelief. That's impossible. Emma closed her eyes for a moment. My past self was right. Lucas's hands tightened into fists. Why would Daniel take Lily? Emma thought quickly. To force us to stop investigating. Lucas looked at her. But we haven't done anything yet. Emma shook her head. No. But he thinks we will. Lucas immediately grabbed his phone. I'm calling the police. Emma stopped him. Wait. Lucas frowned. Our daughter has been kidnapped. I know, Emma said firmly. But if Daniel planned this carefully, he'll disappear before the police find him. Lucas looked furious. So what do you suggest? Emma took a deep breath. My past self left clues everywhere. Lucas looked confused. What do you mean? Emma pulled out the small black notebook. This message wasn't just a warning. Lucas read it again. Do not trust Daniel. Emma flipped through the pages. Near the back, there was something else. Numbers. Coordinates. Lucas recognized them immediately. That's the location of our old factory. Emma looked up. Does Daniel know about it? Lucas nodded slowly. It was Reed Techer's first building. We stopped using it years ago. Emma closed the notebook. Then that's where he took Lily. Lucas didn't waste another second. Let's go. The old factory stood alone at the edge of the city. Dark and silent. Lucas parked the car nearby. Emma's heart pounded. Are you sure about this? Lucas asked. Emma nodded. My past self wouldn't send us here without a reason. They quietly entered the building. Inside, the air smelled dusty and abandoned. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the room. I was wondering when you would figure it out. Daniel stepped out of the shadows. He looked calm, almost amused. Lucas stepped forward angrily. Where is Lily? Daniel smiled slightly. Relax. She's safe. Emma saw Lily sitting in a chair nearby, unharmed but scared. Mom. Lily cried. Emma felt relief flood through her. Why are you doing this? Lucas demanded. Daniel sighed. I didn't want it to come to this. Emma spoke coldly. You hacked the server. Daniel nodded casually. Of course. I had to remove the files you discovered. Lucas looked shocked. You betrayed the company? Daniel laughed. Betrayed? I built that company with you. Lucas glared at him. Then why steal from it? Daniel's smile faded. Because I deserved more. Emma stepped forward. You were selling the technology to competitors. Daniel didn't deny it. You were the only one smart enough to notice, he said to Emma. Lucas turned to her in surprise. You already knew? Emma nodded slowly. My past self figured it out. Daniel crossed his arms. But she never got the chance to expose me. Emma looked directly at him. That's why you caused the accident. Daniel's silence was the answer. Lucas's anger exploded. You tried to kill her? Daniel shrugged. I only meant to scare her. Emma raised the flash drive she had taken earlier. But you missed something. Daniel frowned. What? Emma smiled slightly. The real evidence. She pressed a button. Lucas's phone began playing a recording. Daniel's earlier conversation about selling the company's technology. Daniel's expression changed instantly. You recorded me? Emma nodded. My past self prepared for everything. Police sirens suddenly echoed outside. Lucas had quietly sent a message earlier. Daniel realized too late. He tried to run. But officers rushed inside and arrested him. Minutes later, Lily ran into Emma's arms. Mom. Emma hugged her tightly. It's okay. You're safe. Lucas stood beside them, relief filling his face. Weeks later, life slowly returned to normal. Emma still didn't remember the missing 8 years. But she understood the person she had become. One evening, she sat with Lucas on the balcony while Lily played inside. I figured something out, Emma said. Lucas looked at her. What? I may not remember falling in love with you. Lucas stayed quiet. Emma smiled softly. But I can see why I did. Lucas looked surprised. Emma continued. My past self trusted you enough to build a life together. Lucas smiled gently. And your present self? Emma reached for his hand. I think she wants to try again. Lucas squeezed her hand. That's good enough for me. Inside the house, Lily's laughter filled the air. Emma watched her daughter happily. 8 years of memories were still missing. But one thing was certain. Her future was no longer a mystery. Because this time, she was going to write it herself.